the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. So yeah, in today's video, I want to talk to you about COVID hot room horror that happened today. Well, yesterday now. So I was absolutely disgusted. So I went to A&E yesterday, and that was on the advice of Devon Doctors on Call. So I live in the UK, and basically what happened is I've had a chest infection / respiratory infection since November. I've had it for about 6 weeks now. Before Christmas, I had the third lot of antibiotics. The doctor said I had a faster than normal heartbeat. My temperature was a bit high, feverish still, and I still had some infection in my lungs. So that was like the week before Christmas week. And then Monday, which was the start of Christmas week, was the last day of my last lot of antibiotics. That last day I took them, right? So I finished the course. And so then I've at Christmas was coughing a lot because it was over my parents. But when I haven't got the window open, it can make me really cough much more. But instead of coughing up like gross stuff like green and brown stuff like I was with the first lot of 2 antibiotics, it's only been like a bit of white stuff and yellow stuff. Sorry to get so intimately gross, but I think it's important to say this. So in other words, I've been getting better, right? But a week before Christmas, I explained to the doctor that I had a lot of rib pain, especially down my left side. Whilst I've been having the illness, I had pain in my left side before, then right side, then went back to left side, and I had some, pain in my ribs and stuff, and it hurt me. Right, but this since Christmas particularly, over the last couple of days, I've been getting horrific pain, like sharp stabbing pain under my armpit, like someone's put a knife in between my ribs and kept it there. And I've been getting extra pain when I've done stuff like try to blow my nose and try to tie my shoelaces. Even breathing in has hurt more, and it's been like a feeling like someone's cutting me with glass on top of the knife being in my ribs. So I've been getting very worried about myself, about the amount of pain it's causing me, because it makes it more difficult to sleep, because I can't just get up and walk off like that. I have to kind of like move down and around my body, because it just hurts too much else, and it's really sharp pain, really excruciating pain. And so I have it now when I'm talking to you, the sharp pain, but it gets worse with doing certain things, and especially when I'm breathing in, like that hurts. When out is fine. It's the in bit. So, I was getting worried about myself. So I went to the walk-in centre after I'd been to Kids Club to see a movie yesterday morning, which was a good movie. And they said, well, there's no point in seeing a doctor, but you can see one if you want, because we haven't got any x-ray equipment. And they were worried I had fractured my ribs because of all the coughing I've been doing. So they said I would have to go to A&E if I wanted to get an x-ray for my ribs. And so then I went home and I phoned Devon Doctors on Call in the UK, and they did an assessment. They said, I think it's a good idea for you to go to A&E, and we'll basically arrange that for you, like book you, like basically let them know you're coming, and they think it'd be good for me to get a chest x-ray. And they were surprised I hadn't already got an x-ray, considering how long I've had the problem. But the doctor told me before Christmas it would take 6 weeks for me to recover, and it would likely be coughing a while after I finish my antibiotics, and I would likely be better by January or in January. And so on the advice of Devon Doctor on Call, they booked me in, for basically being expected, like 5:45 yesterday. I called for a taxi, got there in time, and I sat in the waiting room, and so I thought I was going to be x-rayed either on my chest or on my ribs for all the pain I've been having, because I wasn't sure if I fractured my ribs. But when I talked to 111, which is the Devon Doctors on Call helpline, they said that about the chest x-ray, and they were surprised my doctor hadn't already done that. So I was expecting either chest or rib x-ray. I was sat in the waiting room. It's quite a long time, and it's quite horrendous in there today. there was a woman who'd just had an accident from a horse. She'd fell off her horse, but the horse had actually fallen on top of her and it had trod on her twice. So she was in so much pain and she was shaking and getting upset. Obviously, her leg was like really dangling down and twisted one way. Her chest was in pain. Her arm was in pain. You know, you can imagine having a horse like falling on your leg and then, you know, treading on it a couple of times as well. And I heard her talking about, she was just opposite me, and I heard her talking on the phone about saying I think the horse was stuck in the mud and it scrambled to get up, got up, tried to get up and then went back again on her. So, you know, she's basically, as far as I could make out, she was thrown off the horse and the horse fell on her and then it trod on her twice. So that is pretty bad damage. And there was also another woman that came in with her husband, and he's like, my wife has been unconscious for an hour and I couldn't wait any longer for an ambulance. So I brought her in myself. And then when she gained about 20%, you know, she gained about 20% consciousness, that's when he decided to bring her in. And she's previously had a brain tumor and had sections of her brain removed. So it was very difficult for her. I could tell that she didn't really know what was going on, a bit delirious. She looked really tearful, finding things really hard to cope with. And there was other people that were quite, you know, there was another older woman and she wasn't too good either. And so, yeah, it was kind of like a bit stressful really being there. I'm Mexico exempt, but I was sat in a chair that had perspex either side. So like sectioned off from other people. And the girl next to me later on, who came to sit next to me, she was like swearing on the phone, having an argument with someone, and she hobbled off. It looked like she'd broken her ankle, tore it or something. And so, yeah, it's very stressful. I was getting quite stressed in there, really. And so anyway, I got through to the triage nurse and I told her the situation, that I'd been coughing up, you know, gross stuff like brown and green stuff, and had 2 lots of antibiotics. Then before Christmas, I was just coughing up white and a little bit of yellow. Had another lot of antibiotics. I said at that point I had a fast and normal heartbeat, a high temperature, and I think I had problems with my blood pressure, although when I went to the doctors by that time it was fine and okay. So she tested me for blood pressure, fast and normal heartbeat, and yeah, it seemed like everything was okay apart from she told me my blood pressure was 140, which is really high. Normally it's really low, so I didn't understand what I thought. Maybe it's because I was stressed. She didn't say it was really high, but that's really high for me. I mean, when I was at my mum's, New Year's Day, I had it tested and it was low, which is what I usually get, you know, but I can only guess that it was because I was stressed in there. So anyway, she didn't really say too much about it. She just said it's 140. And then she took me to this room and I'm like, going in this room, and then handed over to this woman. And she didn't say what I was going to do in this room. The triage nurse just left me there with this woman. And this woman started getting blankets and putting them on this bed. And she's like, oh, we're going to hook you up to a monitor. We're going to do blood tests. And I'm like, hang on a minute. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I said, I've come in here to the hospital to have an x-ray on my chest or my ribs. And I explained to her what had happened. I said, so I don't understand why I'm in this room. And she's like, you're in a COVID hot room. And I'm looking at her gone out. And she's saying, oh, because you've been coughing. I might add that I hadn't been coughing today. Well, yesterday now. I told her I hadn't been coughing. Don't think I coughed once. I don't think I coughed much the day before because my cough has been less and less. Just that all the pain, all the coughing I've been doing over the 6 weeks has manifested in a lot of pain. Right. And so I said to her, I said, I haven't got COVID. I said, I've never had COVID. And all the tests I've done, I did a test yesterday at 8 a.m. and it was all clear. I don't have COVID. So, you know, I don't understand why I'm in this room, basically, you know. And so basically they were going to treat me as if I had COVID because they said, oh, well, because you've had coughing and you know, and loads of people are coming down with COVID at the moment, loads of them, and you're not vaccinated, then, you know, and I said, but I've not got COVID. I've never had COVID. All the tests I've done, you know, I kind of repeated myself. I said, so I honestly don't know why I'm here because I'm I haven't got COVID. I just kept saying it over again, and like, I'm coming here for x-rays. So I don't know why I'm in this room. Because they were just basically, I told her that I didn't want blood tests because I said, like, I usually pass out. Like, I have to have food straight afterwards. Blood sugar low. So, and usually my mum comes with me. I'm really fearful of blood. So, Shell, we don't have to do that if you're saying you don't want to. But, I didn't have to have any of that done anyway because it wasn't necessary because I didn't have COVID. And anyway, so I just sat upright on this bed. She didn't carry on making it because she said she'd have to go and talk to someone. I think she talked to a triage nurse. Anyway, she said, well, can you do a COVID test? And I said, yeah, I'm happy to do a COVID test. So I had to do all the swab. And I did. She said, do you want to do it yourself? And I said, yeah, I'm experienced in them anyway. She was really impressed with the way I did that. So that was sent off. And I just kept saying, I just was dumbfounded as why I was in a COVID hot room, because to me, that's horrific. It's like, so basically they were treating me as if I had COVID, even though I repeatedly said I haven't got it and don't have the symptoms of it. So, because the coughing, as mostly, I'm going to start coughing now, but I can't because it hurts me too much. So anyway, I'm going to skip to the part where she said it'll be, so I'm going to start coughing now. It'll be an hour before I can see a doctor. And anyway, shortly after she said that, now I'm coughing, so it really hurts. Shortly after she said that, the doctor came in and he didn't see me. He went to see this woman, which was in the same room. Bear in mind, I'm in one room. And this woman, she was like diagonal. I could hear her. She was diagonally opposite me and there was curtains around her. But I could hear the whole conversation about what the doctor said. Because she come in with severe abdominal pains, kept going, went to the toilet or something. And anyway, basically, they said that she'd had a full bladder and that's why her tummy was hurting her. And they said that her blood tests were fine. But they said, oh, it's good. She said it's good that they said, oh, your blood tests are fine. But she said, oh, I don't. It's good I haven't got COVID. It's good I haven't got COVID then. And they said, oh no, you've definitely got COVID. It came back on the test results. You've tested positive for COVID. So of course, to me, I'm actually thinking, you've put me not even on a ward, really. It's a room. You've put me in a room with someone who's tested positive for COVID-19 when I don't have it. And straight away after he saw her, he came to see me. And he had to touch me to diagnose my problem. And as far as I know, he wasn't wearing gloves. The woman that was with him was, but he wasn't. He was wearing a mask and an apron. But now I'm just thinking, I'm more at risk now from getting it than I've ever been. I'd be very protective over myself because I have fibromyalgia, which is an autoimmune condition. And, I don't, like last week, I only went out once, I think it was, to get some food from my local supermarket across the road. I didn't go out for the rest of the 7 days. So I went 1 out of 7 days. It's just ridiculous, and so I thought they've just literally, they have put me in a position I've got COVID-19. So now I'm really horrified. I mean, I didn't even know they had these COVID hot rooms, and to be placed in that when I thought I was going for an x-ray and I haven't got COVID-19 is just disgusting, because now, obviously, because I was in the same room as this woman, if I ever get COVID-19, it's more likely to be in a situation like that. So I was just horrified that they've basically put me at risk for absolutely no reason. It's disgusting, because I explained to the triage nurse that I was having pain because I've been doing a lot of coughing because of chest and respiratory infection. I haven't got COVID-19. I can't have the vaccine because I'm allergic to so many stuff. That's why I don't have the vaccine. Plus, I'm not too keen on the idea of it anyway. But I do have multiple allergies, which I told this woman about while I was waiting for the doctor. And she's looking at me, gone out at all the allergies. I said, yeah, I've got loads of medicine allergies, loads of food allergies. Can't even have ibuprofen and paracetamol together anymore. I have to have them spaced out. If I take them together, my tummy spasms. So it's a bit of a nightmare where pain's concerned. There's not much I can do about it apart from be in pain. But anyway, so the doctor himself, he did actually listen to everything I said and didn't go, oh, you've got COVID-19 or anything like that. I explained to him the whole situation, how I'd been getting progressively better, because obviously I'm not coughing up brown and green stuff. It's like yellow and white stuff. Sorry to be so blunt. And it's been less frequently I've been coughing and not much at all. So it's on average, it's about 3 times a day I cough, you know. I said, so, you know, so he could see the progress, and I explained to him the whole situation. And he basically said, yeah, you've got, he checked all my ribs and everything. And he said, you know, he doesn't think it's a fractured rib, because he said the pain is over more than one area of the body. And he thinks if it was a fracture, it'd just be in one specific area. So he thinks it's muscular in numerous points on my body, a muscular problem. But he said because you've got fibromyalgia, it makes the pain 10 times worse than the average person would experience. And that's why you got so much pain. And there's nothing I can do about it but wait for it to get better. And then he said I could go home. You know, I said, oh, did my COVID test come back then? And he's like, oh, no, you're not yet. I said, can I still go? And he said, yeah. And I was just glad to get the hell out there. I thought, there's no way I want to stay in a room with someone who's got positive COVID-19. You know what I mean? So I was really horrified. I'm like, now you've just put me at risk because I didn't have COVID-19. Then you put me in a whole room. Well, it's not that big a room with someone who's got it. Then came and touched me afterwards because he had to press on my pressure points, test my heart, you know, my chest, lungs with a stethoscope. And it's just like, you know, so as soon as I got home, I literally went in the shower, took my clothes off, went in the shower, and yeah, and I just like put like soap, 99.9% antibacterial soap all over my body, which I don't normally do because I'm so allergic to stuff. But I thought, stuff it, I've just got to do it all over me to get rid of any germs from the hospital, you know. And I've got other stuff I still need to deep clean tomorrow or the next day, both days, you know. And so, you know, like bags I took there and stuff. But I just like was disgusted. I'm like, how can they do that to me? You know, they put my life in jeopardy when there was no need to, you know, and trying to go and treat me for something I don't even have. You know, like I have 2 asexual friends at the moment. Both have COVID-19. Both have had their vaccinations and their booster. They've still got COVID-19. Just because you have the vaccine doesn't mean to say, you know, you can't get the virus, because you can still get COVID even if you've been vaccinated and had the booster. Right? So just to like say, oh, well, you had coughing, when I already told them I was barely coughing it, or well, didn't think I had cough that day, you know, and this is, you know, with a chest and respiratory infection, you get coughing. You know, I've had loads of chest and respiratory infections. I'm actually prone to them, so I know what they're like, you know. And so I just thought it was disgusting to put my life in jeopardy like that, you know. You know, just imagine you walk in and you're like expect to go for an x-ray, then you're told you're in a COVID hot room and basically we're going to treat you as though you've got it when you haven't even frigging got it, you know. And then you're in a room with someone who's diagnosed with definitely having it. I mean, it's just disgusting. So I was really angry about it, to be honest, because now I feel like I worry if in case I do get it, because it's like, you know, she was in the same room as me and he came over to me exactly after he'd left her. So it really makes me worried now. But worrying's not going to help. It's just going to make me worse. So I phoned up their hotline to see if I could get some tests when I came home. But they're just over in the UK. There is no test available at the moment. They're out of stock of the PCR and the lateral flow, the ones you do at home. So you either have to keep phoning up for a PCR test. But they said, as you haven't actually got symptoms, because like I told them yesterday, I hadn't actually been in coughing, because I haven't got any symptoms of COVID, they said you wouldn't normally get the PCR, but they said they could be in it. Basically, they could, because I've had this situation at hospital, they could do it if they had the test, but they don't. So I can keep phoning up like next day to see if they get mine can stop. They said they haven't had to stop for a while, and the home test kits they haven't either. But he said I can book you in for a PCR test at a local centre in a city, but I said, well, I presume nearly everyone who goes to this centre is gonna be suspected of actually having COVID-19. Is that correct? And he said, yeah. And I think, well, I don't want to be in that situation again where I'm around people who are well, that woman was definitely had COVID-19 who I was in the room with. I, heard it with my own ears. Him saying, yes, no, you've definitely tested positive for COVID. You've got COVID. But you'll be okay, they basically said. So, but I don't want to be going into a room with people where they're all suspected of having COVID. They just need confirmation, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's like, I decided against that because I thought it's just going to be no better than going to hospital, but he says if you get symptoms come out over the next week, few days, tomorrow, then phone up. He said I can still phone up to try and get a PCR test, home kit test, but it's hard to get hold of them. So yeah. So anyway, I thought I'd share with you my shocking experience because I just thought it's disgusting. I mean, if you just think of yourself in my position, you think you're going to hospital to get an x-ray, which I've never had any x-rays. He also said they don't x-ray for broken ribs anymore. And he didn't think it's necessary to do a chest x-ray because he thinks it's muscular. So, you know what I mean? It's very like, if you think you're going in for an x-ray and they placed in a, COVID hot room, I mean, it's just, and you never even saw it coming. It's just disgusting. It absolutely shocking. I just wanted to run a mile out there. Luckily, the doctor wasn't an hour and he was quite quick. And he agreed that basically it was, that it was all the cough I've been doing from the respiratory infection. And it's 6 weeks, it says a long time. So that's why you've got the problems you've got, the pain you've got, So, yeah, but there's nothing I can do about it. I've just got to wait to get well. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Share it with someone else if you think they may benefit from it. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now. I post a new video. Lots of love to you. Take care and love you. See you soon. Bye.